Good evening, wherever you're watching us from. We say Karibu Sana and welcome to another exciting and learning episode of the Riverside Council. I'm your host, Davina Anyanga. And today I'm joined by a very amazing guest. Actually, we have a pediatrician on the show. So, Dr. Thank you for honoring the invitation and Karibu Sana to the show.
Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Jemima Njagi. I'm a pediatrician currently based at Central Memorial Hospital, that is in Thika. So welcome to this learning session. We are going to learn more here.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. So today, what do you have in store for us? What do you want us to talk about? What do you want to educate us?
Okay, today is a very an interesting topic we are going to discuss. We want to know more about it. This is about growth and development in children, what we call growth, how these children grow since the time that they were born until they reach at an older age. So that is it, growth and development.
Okay, so as you've heard today, we are tackling growth and development from conception up to that certain age that she's going to tell us.
Yes.
So remember our social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram at Riverside TV KE. Watch us at YouTube at Riverside TV Kenya. And you can send your SMSs, your questions, your comments via the number passing through your screen. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we can start. Could you please tell us what is the meaning of growth and development?
Okay, first of all, yes, we need to understand the meaning. So when we say a child is growing, growth is increase in size. Like this child becomes bigger in terms of size. And this is due to the multiplication of cells. The body cells are multiplying. So that is why we say it is increase in size. So that is what we call growth. Now they go hand in hand with the development. So development now is the in terms of function. Maturation of cells, maturation in terms of functions, and mostly it's the maturation of the central nervous system. This is the brain. So in terms of brain, now you say this child has developed because now the functions, complexity of the function. So this is now the development. So they go hand in hand now, growth and development. Yes.
So when you talk about, you say you said growth is increase in size, right?
Yes,
or it concerns the multiplication of the body cells.
Yes.
So when maybe about development, sometimes when you see maybe I could say the two babies, the infants maybe perhaps, wakati maybe sometimes they start smiling, they start ukifanya hivi your hand, they're moving. So could you say that's part of development?
Yes, it is. You're
Okay.
Right. You're right.
So what are the key points to note? Maybe I could say that now my baby is growing, or maybe now this growth is occurring in this particular baby.
Okay, one thing, maybe I'll start by saying that the first 2 months of breastfeeding, that infant who is breastfeeding, the first 2 months, they usually have faster growth compared to those that are formula fed. Remember when you were here, we talked about breastfeeding. Yeah. So it is still an issue because you see, when you don't breastfeed your baby again, the growth is going to be altered. So that's what we are saying. The 2-month-old babies grow faster, actually very fast. Those who are only on breast milk, because of the content we said of the breast milk, compared to those that have are being fed on other things like formulas and all that. So that is one point to note. We also, another point to note is that we have something we call mid-arm circumference. This is the arm, the full arm. So the mid-arm circumference here, this is how we measure this. And this is a very, very good indicator of adequate nutrition. We are able to say this child is the nutrition. We are not malnourished. I mean, wasted, the babies that are wasted. So we use this to measure. So it's a very, very good, we call it mid-arm circumference. It is what we use now to measure now there. It's a good indicator for the adequate nutrition. So something else to note is that growth is very rapid. It is very rapid in the first year of life. Okay. So those children...
When you talk about the first year, does it include before birth, or you say the first year?
The first year after now they are born.
Okay.
Now the very first year, 1-year-old baby,
Okay.
So that is what I'm talking about. So the growth proceeds very rapidly again. It's so fast. That is why you don't, we need to be keen on that time when the child is on, in terms of nutrition, in terms of breastfeeding. Remember we said it should be at least up to 2 years or even beyond. So when you deny this breast milk, when you don't give when the baby starts weaning, you deny them like the balanced diet within the first year, you are doing a very big harm, because here growth is very rapid. And then after that, the growth again it remains steady at 5 years. So those are some of the points to note. Yeah.
So let me just remember when you talked about the mid-arm circumference. Yes. So wakati maybe the babies are being taken to the clinic, so is it a must they be measured there?
Sometimes it's good, but normally you see when you see a kid come in, you are able to tell there's something unusual. This baby is very, very wasted. These two, you see, we call them to pads, the pads, the breastfeeding pads. We don't have the calf. These are supposed to be fat. So you see they have, like, they are wasted, the hands, the feet, everywhere, even in the abdomen, it's very wasted. Like you can count even the ribs. Very wasted. Now here we know we are headed to, we call it this abnormality, we call it malnutrition. Maybe you have heard of it. So this malnutrition, we check now, it is by doing the mid-arm circumference. This is what we use. Maybe in another next we shall see on malnutrition, because it is it's a common illness in under 5, and it's because of we are not giving the right diet. So that is why it is the indicator. So we don't measure every kid. You are able to tell which one to do that the mid-arm circumference on, but it is good to do it. Yes.
So maybe my baby is not breastfeeding well, let's say that, and then we have to do that mid-arm circumference measurement. So what could you advise? Maybe should I introduce him or her to formula or what? Because we are advised not to give them anything else apart from breast milk.
Now, when you find that now what we are measuring is the circumference. This circumference here. So there is what we say, there's that tape, the tape that we use to measure, and it have 3 colors. There's a green one. If that one goes to where the green part is, there's nothing to worry about. When it comes to, there's another color, the yellow one. Yellow, we say we are moderately malnourished. There's malnutrition, but not as much. So that one now, we start now seeing, we refer these babies to the nutritionist. Now red means danger. So we are so much malnourished. They severe, we call it severe malnutrition. So, and normally it is in terms of centimeters. So below 11 centimeters, we say this is, and it is on the red part, we say now this is severe malnutrition. What we do, yes, if a baby is not yet 6 months, yet, and we always say we do exclusive breast feeding for the first 6 months. Now, I believe your question is, this baby is on exclusive breast milk, yet they are wasted. So what you do, you refer them to you don't advise them to start. These other foods will not do anything. So we have food, we have things we call F75. Those, I can call it in layman, the porridge. They are given by the nutritionist. So, and then they keep following them up until they gain weight. Yes.
So I believe we are getting something from the points to note about the growth in our babies, our infants. So do we have, like, could you say we have different age groups to concerning this growth and development thing, from babies, infants, and all that?
Yes, we have different age groups. First of all, let me say that growth starts at conception. Conception, I mean, it's after fertilization. Now, when this baby now starts forming, now that is the conception. So growth starts right there. So number one, we have one group. The first one, we call it perinatal period. Perinatal is when the conception happened, the fertilization we are saying, until the first days. The first 7 days, I mean, first 7 days of life. So this baby is in a perinatal period. So that is group number one, the perinatal period. We also have, we say that these are fetus. Fetus now, these are the products of conception up to birth. The products of conception until we give birth. You get? So now this is a fetus. Now we have neonatal period. Which period is this? The neonatal period is 7 days now to 28 days.
After birth.
After birth now. After birth. So the first one I said perinatal period, it is from conception to the first 7 days. Inside, not outside. But now when we say neonatal period, it's between the 7 days of life, the baby has been born, until 28 days old. That is the neonatal period. We also have infancy period. An infant is now a bigger child. That is from 1 month to 1 year. So that one is an infant. I know these terms are confusing.
Very confusing, because sometimes you could find someone saying an infant, yet they mean
a very small baby. Yes, I know. I know. So we have now infants. Infant is now we start saying this is an infant when we are 1 month, between 1 month to 1 year old. Yes. We also have another group we call toddlers. Toddlers are into brackets, we call them terrible 2s and 3s. They are terrible because this is where we find a lot of issues, and these are 2 to 3 years now. So we call them terrible 2s and 3s, the toddlers. Why? Here it is when you take these babies to hospital every time. They see now there's fire, they want to touch. You place a cup of hot something and then they throw it away, so they get burned. So these are most of the kids. This age group is what we admit a lot of time in the world. They have either burns, they fell climbing on the cupboards, they are taking what, I don't know, all those things. That's why we call them terrible 2s and 3s. So we ask the parents to be very keen when it comes to these ages. So you keep watching, because anything can happen within a... Yes, yes, that's why we call them terrible 2s and 3s. Now, these are now the toddlers. We also have preschool children. These are between 3 to 6 years, preschool children. School child, now it's a big child who is 7 to 12 years old. And then we have adolescents. Adolescents are both boys and girls, but we say adolescents in boys between 12 to 14 years. Sometimes others, it comes late up to 20 years. The boys, yes.
Adolescent.
Yes, yes. Then in girls, it starts earlier. So you see, for the boys, it's from 12. Now for the girls, it starts from 10 years to 12 years. Today, it even happens at even as early as 8 years.
That's why we could see girls as young as 8 or 9 getting pregnant.
Yes. Okay. And they start having their menstrual period very early. And actually, I don't know, today it's because of things like diet.
Actually,
the children are getting... that's why we get it so early. So those are now the adolescents. So all that, those are the classifications, like different age groups when it comes to growth. Yes.
There has been a myth going around that there's some medications given at the hospital. Maybe I'd say these vaccines. There is maybe like a vaccine like HPV. You know, some parents who are not actually, who don't have much knowledge, they will say that these are the type of vaccines that are altering our adolescents, maybe to get into the adolescent stage maybe faster, and it appears in our alter concerning their starting their menstrual periods early now.
So they say like they contributed to it. But now that one is a myth. You know, when you ask me, because this, for example, this HPV vaccine just came the other day. It's not like the adolescents starting this early when they came. And actually, I'm advising any mother who has a girl between 10 years, from 10 years, to go for that vaccine. It's good. Imagine, it is good if we prevent it than having. You see, the HPV, we are preventing it. It is a prevention from now, the cervical cancer. So imagine, most of us, we are disadvantaged because at our time, it never used to be here, because as we cannot get the vaccine because we are above the age. So between 10 years, they should get the vaccine. It is very, very important. Yes.
So, Basawa, thank you so much, Dr. So, we've talked about different age groups, as you've explained. So now, is there a difference between age groups and phases of human growth?
Yes, we have. It is different because this was just what group we call a certain name, and now the age groups. Now, when we come to now the phases of human growth, this is where every child passes. It is where every child passes, and we have four major phases of growth. The first one, we call it fetal phase. So fetal phase, remember we defined a fetus.
Mm-hmm.
So fetal phase, it usually represents 30% of the final height of this child.
Okay.
Yes. And then it is usually, like we said, it is from conception to birth.
Mm-hmm.
And we said it is the fastest period of growth.
Mm-hmm.
And what determines this phase?
Mm-hmm.
We have hormones that facilitate this phase. There are certain hormones that will work when it comes to this fetal phase. Mm-hmm. So fetal phase is the first one, the fastest phase of growth. It is between conception to birth. Mm-hmm. So that one, and we said it accounts for 30% of the final height. Mm-hmm. That is the first phase. Okay. So the second phase is infantile phase. Remember, we said an infant. Yeah. So infantile phase. Mm-hmm. So infantile phase accounts for now 15% of the final height of this child.
Okay, so fetal phase 30%.
Then infantile phase accounts for now 15% of the final height. Mm-hmm. And this one, it is when we have inadequate growth here during this period, the infantile phase, we have something we call failure to thrive. Failure to thrive, it's like, okay, I don't say it is the same as malnutrition, but the child does not grow, they're just there. So failure to thrive in terms of the weight, the child is underweight. Yeah, so we call it FTT, failure to thrive. So if a child fails to grow during this phase, now we get that. So, and here growth depends on the adequate nutrition. Again, the nutrition, what you're giving this child, very matters a lot. Good health and also happiness, imagine. Wow. So don't stress this child out. The happiness, it's a contributor also when it comes to this phase. Okay. Yes.
Okay, so those are two phases that we've discussed.
Yes.
We have two more.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll go on a very short commercial break and then we'll be right back to continue with the phases of human growth.
My name is Paul Wagana. I'm the CEO and Director of FutureSoft Group of Companies. I'm in charge of hardware division. Here we do sell laptops, CCTV, and all ICT accessories. We are located at Kawasukari of Thika Road, Luhan Plaza, room number 305, next to Quick Mart. We are the missing piece in your ICT world.
And we were talking about normal growth and development. So remember to send your questions, to send your SMSs or your comments via the number passing through your screen and our social media handles, Facebook and Instagram at Riverside TV KE. Watch us at YouTube at Riverside TV Kenya. Thank you for continuing with us in this program. So we were talking about phases of human growth. We had talked about two, yeah. So could you please continue with the phases?
Okay, now we said we have 4 phases. Okay. So we talked of 2. Yeah. Now the third phase, we call it childhood phase. Childhood phase. Okay. This accounts for 40% of the final height. Okay. So now this one extends from 2 years to 12, all the way to 12 years. Mm-hmm. About this phase, it is slow, steady, and very prolonged period of growth. Okay. Yes, this is a childhood phase. Mm-hmm. So you see it's from 2 years to 12 years. Yeah. So the last phase, we call it pubertal phase. Mm-hmm. This is mostly for the adolescents. Okay. The pubertal phase, you hear people saying, this person or this girl is in puberty. In puberty is like in adolescence.
Yeah.
So pubertal phase accounts again for 15% of the final height. Here, the sex hormones dominate here. So when it comes to male, the most dominant one, we call it testosterone. That is the hormone that is dominant in male.
Yeah.
For the female is estrogen. So here it is where we have all sorts of things in girls. We talked how the breasts enlarge, boys enlarge, broaden their shoulders, deepen their voices, all that. So this is now the pubertal phase. Those now are the 4 phases of growth.
Okay.
Yes.
So I hope you've gotten all the 4 phases of growth concerning the phases of human growth. So could you talk about the factors influencing growth? So maybe you could tell us maybe the positive ones or the negative ones.
Okay, yeah, there are factors that affect growth in a child. One, we say genetic. It is genetical. Like we have parental size. You say this child has taken over from either after the dad or the mom. So it's genetical.
Or when we talk about genetical, so maybe you know those. When we talk about genetics, we talk about the T, right? The tall.
Yes.
Parents, right?
Yes.
So when maybe let's say I am short, so maybe the chances are that my baby is going to take after.
Yes.
Or that's what you mean by
that is what I mean. So the genetic is number 1 factor.
Okay.
We have adequate nutrition. You hear me talk of good nutrition when the child is growing, like in the first year of life.
Yeah.
So good nutrition is key. If the baby is breastfeed this child. After they start weaning, make sure that the food is balanced. It is very much balanced. They drink water, everything. So this is the adequate nutrition. So nutrition is another factor that can affect growth. So another factor are hormones. Like we have growth hormones also. We call them trophic hormones. We have sex hormones, like we have just said in pubertal phase. It is sex hormones that dominate. There's that one for male, the testosterone. There's also estrogen for female. So we have other external factors like illnesses. Definitely when the child is sick, the growth is going to be altered because this child is not feeding well. So we expect a change when the child is sick. So these are the external factors. Social economic class is another thing. Yes, there are those the families that have a very good class. So they can afford the best food for this kid. So when you compare this to these other families that cannot compare, so the growth of these two kids is going to be it's going to be different. So this we say socioeconomic class affects.
Okay. When we talk about the social economic, like the factor, sometimes I think could we say that also the social classes, those who are in a very good class, and say they should also get advice on how to to get good nutrition for these kids, because I understand that we have kids who are obese, or the infants, or maybe the babies who are obese, right? Because maybe they're taking something that is not in the correct nutrition.
Yes. So in as much as they can afford, we also need to teach these mothers on the best. You see, it's not just food, the best nutrition. We talk to them what balanced diet means, and again, you see, you find these kids being fed on the pizzas. I'm not saying pizzas are bad, but pizzas, you see the deep fried food, the sausages every time, chips, you see. So everything is deep fried. So you expect now this child can really get obese because of this the fat and all that. So we try to make them understand what we mean by good nutrition. Not just expensive food, but there's what we mean by good nutrition.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. When we talk about good nutrition, there's this aspect of, maybe we could say the low class people or mothers, maybe they could only afford, let's say, whatever we are eating as a family. Maybe we're taking ugali and skuma. This is what we can also afford for our baby. So the BPIA is going to take ugali and skuma. So is it like, what else could you encourage them maybe to be taking? Because leo tumekula ugali skuma, baby will also take the same. Tomorrow we're going to take maybe ugali and managu, baby will also take the same.
So in that ugali skuma, ugali either
Managu,
spinach,
yeah.
all of the, you see the veggies are vitamins,
Mhm.
so we don't have any protein there.
Yeah.
So you advise them on the affordable. There's affordable protein,
Yeah.
like the beans,
Mhm.
you get.
Mhm.
Now, fish is another good protein, but you see, fish is expensive.
Mhm.
So it's only those parents that are able to afford.
Mhm.
So for these others, we tell them to use omenas. Omenas are very nutritious, and you see it's cheap.
Mhm.
You go, you get omenas for 50, even 50 shillings.
Mhm.
You give this baby, they are very, very nutritious omena, only that people don't know.
Mhm.
So you try to, we don't force them to use what they cannot afford. We make sure that whatever we tell them, they are able at least to afford.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's always not put it in our minds that because we're supposed to take proteins, we're supposed to take pork, we're supposed to take beef. Beans, omenas are very nutritious for our kids.
Yes.
Yeah. So I believe we can talk about measurement of growth. What do you mean by that?
So this is how we measure growth.
Mhm.
So like, how do you know that this child is growing, or what do you use to measure?
Yeah.
So these are what we call measurements of growth.
Mhm.
We have 3 parameters to measure growth. Number 1 is weight.
Mhm.
So by checking the weight of the kid, we are able to tell this child is either underweight, they are not feeding well. We are able to know this child is not growing.
Mhm.
So number 1 is weight.
Let me cut you short. When you talk about weight, is there like as a pediatrician, is there like maybe you know that between 1 month and 2 months, maybe a baby is supposed to have a certain weight, maybe between 2?
Yeah, good question. So
Mhm.
that's where we are headed.
Okay.
That's where we are headed.
Okay.
So weight, first of all, is the most sensitive.
Mhm.
It is the most sensitive parameter of growth. So about weight, we should know that the first week of life,
Mhm.
average baby should be gaining 150 grams to 190 grams that is per week.
Mhm.
So that is how we go. So when you divide that, it's average of 22 grams per day. So the first week of life. So this child has been born. So that first week, they should gain this amount of kgs.
Mhm.
Then we should know that a normal baby should double their birth weight at 4 to 6 months. You get that?
Okay. A normal baby should double their birth weight
Between 4 to 6
6
months.
months.
So when this child is coming for maybe clinic,
Yeah.
they are 4 months or 6 months. You ask them, even without thinking of other things,
Mhm.
what was the birth weight? The mom has the booklet, or they even know
Mhm.
the kgs, the birth weight. So you try to double it and see what, after weighing what you get, you start comparing. Because 4 to 6 months, they should double the birth weight.
Okay.
1 year, they should have tripled the birth weight.
Okay.
If the birth weight was 3 kgs, at 1 year, this baby should be above 9. At least above 9. You get that?
Yes.
So now there are instances like that is a term baby, a well baby, but we have preterms. Preterms is a baby that came before the time, like before the 37 in terms of week. They came before the 37 weeks of gestation, like they came
Those are
early.
premature babies.
Yes.
Okay.
So with them, we don't expect them to gain weight like the normal baby. So funny enough is that these preterms grow even more faster than a normal baby. Yes. So they should double their birth weight. Imagine at 6 weeks. They should have doubled at 6 weeks. You compare with a normal baby who was doubling at 4 to 6 months. So these ones double their birth weight at 6 weeks, and they triple the birth. They already have tripled the weight at 3 months. See the difference?
Yes.
They grow faster, yet they came early. They are preterms.
Okay. So is it advisable when I come for the clinic? Is it advisable for you as the doctor to ask me maybe whether the baby was premature or concerning the weight?
Yeah, you ask, and also they should always come with that booklet. You see, the booklet has everything.
Oh.
This booklet is the one that they attended the antenatal clinics with.
Yes.
And they'll continue using it for there's a graph where we chart the weight, how the child is. So you are able to tell this child's weight, the graph should go up not down. So when it starts coming down, you know there's an issue. Either the child has gotten sick in between, or if not, now you start thinking of the mid-arm circumference. You start now following up on the kid to know what the issue is. If it's about nutrition, you advise them. Yeah.
Okay.
So now that is about it. That is about now the weight.
Yes.
So you should have, there's a question you had asked, are you supposed to know the baby? So I think I have answered it halfway.
Yes.
But again, in your mind, you should know at least a 1 year old should have at least 10 kgs. 1 year old baby. 2 years, at least 12. 3 years, 13. But you don't have to cram this, even me as a doctor, when the child comes. So you see, you find an instance whereby the mom comes, this baby is in emergency. And you see, in all cases, as when you're treating these babies, we calculate the dosages of the drugs per kg of this child. So you find this mother doesn't even know, maybe it was an emergency, they didn't even carry that booklet. So what do? What you do, we have formulas to calculate, to estimate the age of these children. We have three formulas, whereby if the baby is between 3 months to 1 year, you're going to use a formula of A plus 9 divided by 2. A in terms of the age.
Okay.
You get? Yeah. So if the child is that 3 months, so you say 3 months is 3 times A. So 3 plus 9 divided by 2. So that is the formula. Now I should know, because it's not in all cases that the mother will know the weight of this child, maybe like those emergencies. So for kids 1 to 6 years, we use a formula of 2A plus 8. Again, A for the age. You get? 1 to 6 years. Big kids, 7 years to 12 years now, we use 7A minus 5 divided by 2. It might be. So that one now is what we should have here.
Yeah.
Yes, because in all cases, we calculate the dosages of these children as per kg. So you have to know the kilos of this baby.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. Quite interesting.
So that's about weight.
Yes.
That's about weight. So we have another parameter, we said height.
Yeah.
Height is another important parameter when it comes to growth. So height, we say at birth, at least a baby should be 50 centimeters. This one is in terms of centimeters. And the weight is, you measure using a tape measure from the head to the toe, when the baby is straight to down, up to down. So it should be 50 centimeters. We use tape measures. Yeah. So 1 year, this baby should have gotten 75 centimeters, at least when they are 1 year old. Again, there is another formula. You do 6A plus 77 to get to know. So A is again for the height. So it is in terms of centimeters. So height is another parameter. We have one last one, very important. We call it head circumference. Head circumference is all the way round. How is the measurement of the circumference, the round thing? So what we do, we say that at birth, it is in terms of centimeters. You find that the normal is 33 to 37, an average of 35 centimeters. So what you do, you measure, again, you use a tape measure. So from the behind here, all round, and then you're able to measure, you see how many centimeters we have. You know, I'm sure you have heard of babies or seen. You see, these babies with, I would call it big heads, like very and scary. So that is what you want to know. You find that for this baby, it's too way much far, and you're able to say there's an issue. So they have brain issues. We call it the CSF of the brain is the one that drains, and now the head becomes big. So that's how we know, by measuring the head circumference. So we should know the normals. So this head circumference, we say that birth between 33 to 37, average of 35 centimeters. So it increases by 2 centimeters for the first 3 months. You're able to tell. First, yes, it increases by 2 centimeters the first 3 months, each month. Now, again, increases with 1 centimeter for the second 3 months. And 0.5 centimeters for the 6 months. So that's how you're able to, knowing that when a child comes with their age, you're able to calculate and see this child's head circumference should be like this and not this.
Wow. So those are the measurement of growth.
Yes,
Huh?
they're
Weight, height, head circumference. Thank you so much. This is quite like I'd say vast information. It's very knowledgeable. So I believe you've really understood, because personally I was in a learning class. So maybe you could tell us your parting shots. Maybe talk to parents concerning this normal growth and development. Just a piece of advice.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a very important thing to know. Growth and development. Growth is everything in every kid. So parents, I hope you get something all about nutrition right from breastfeeding, what I've been saying about breastfeeding, to nutrition, good nutrition. You know how the kids now should grow. At the phases of growth now, you know. So kindly try to follow up and don't assume or ignore. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was the only time we had. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. I believe we'll be able to answer them next time, right?
Yes.
So maybe you could tell us your social media handles, maybe your contacts. How could we reach you in case of any information?
Okay. So I have a YouTube channel about this. It is called The Pediatric World. It's all about kids' welfare, about children. So it's by name Jamie Naftali. Jamie Naftali in small letters. So in all platforms, even in Instagram, Jamie Naftali, Facebook, Jamie Naftali. My contact is 0725 393268. Yes, welcome.
Okay, thank you so much. So follow pediatrician here, Jamie Naftali, and I believe you'll get more knowledgeable about your kids, about your infant, about your babies you've had. There are different age groups, and I'd say maybe phases. So it's quite a lot to learn. Thank you so much for being with us today. Until next time, have a good night.